like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And I've been going through the reviews of Doctor Who, The Power of the Doctor. It didn't go well. It's being savaged. Poor thing. It's being savaged beyond savage. So we have a collection of them that I read over my live stream last night. I'm recording this on October the 30th. When's Halloween? Is it tonight? Is it tomorrow night? I don't know. I got to look into this. Something I've got to look into, get my hair cut. I'm actually getting a haircut today. This is an aside, okay? But I've been kvetching and complaining that I haven't got a haircut for ages. I've been feeling a bit shaggy. So next time you see me, or probably before this time, because this video's not going out for a while, I'm going to be freshly shorn, right? Freshly shorn. Anyway, I digress. Power of the Doctor didn't do very well. Now, I find this a little bit unfair, right? Because it's amongst the best thing Chris Chibnall has done, right? And it's being savage beyond savage beyond savage. It's not good. I want to be clear. It's not very good, but boy, is it being savage, right? I actually look for good reviews. I found one I thought would be a good review, had a pleasant headline. No, it got savage. So, it didn't go down well, right? I guess the Emperor's got new clothes. It's like that. Then we can finally say, oh, this was garbage. This was unwatchable garbage. And people are feeling kind of stupid for supporting it now. I think that's really what's going on. People are just feeling like, oh, I don't know how I got behind that, but I guess I look a bit stupid now. Which is why, they're trying to distance themselves. Anyway, so these reviews we're going to be going over, not good, right? Not good at all. I mean, so many things that I couldn't, that I didn't notice that were awful. Again, it's really, I feel bad for Chibnall. Honestly, I feel bad for Chibnall. He came in and did exactly what the BBC wanted, right? Exactly what the BBC wanted. I imagine they interviewed like Toby Whithouse and Chris Chibnall. Toby Whithouse, who did God Complex, School Reunion, great writer, Being Human, right? Would have been perfect showrunner. He was like, yeah, I've got this great idea to make really scary, great Doctor Who for children. Yeah, much like those Cold Winter Nights in the 70s made by Philip Hinchcliffe and Robert Holmes. We're gonna get like this really deep thing. And then Christian said, I think we should make a Doctor Who about a lady, because ladies are oppressed in society. And like, oh yeah, that's what we want, right? And he delivered exactly what they wanted, the idiots of the BBC. And now he's the one carrying the can. I think he did a terrible job. I genuinely think he did a terrible job. That only his career gets destroyed out there seems somewhat unfair. I think you should treat people equally, right? I do. I think you should treat people equally. Today is not a day for that, right? Today is not a good day to be Chris Chibnall. So like, share, subscribe, comment. That'll be fantastic. Sign up my Substack, sign up my paid Substack. Substack is my email newsletter. I'll let you know where you can find my content, wherever it may be. It's in the video notes below. I put extra stuff out on there all the time, like old articles from Doctor Who magazine. My paid one this month, well, actually, this offer's probably expired by now, but if you sign up, get in contact with me, I will give this to you, of course. You get this graphic novel, The Imperium, a love letter to Telefantasy 96's a digital version of it. You're not getting a print one out of me. What are you talking about? But probably this month you're getting excerpts from my new book, Eki Thump, a guide to the Jodie Whittaker era. It's going to have a bit more of a pithy title than that, but Eki Thump is the main title for it. That's what you get now. $5 a month. Throw me a digital copy or two. That'd be fantastic. Fine. Like, share, subscribe, comment, Substack. Now, let me hand over to me from my live stream last night. Second opinion. Now, I think I worked out the plot of this story, okay? Here's the plot of The Power of the Doctor, okay? In a nutshell, as I can recall. Starts off, there's a super fast train that's carrying a very important cargo, and it's being stolen by the Cybermen, who are able to regenerate. The Doctor flies in to save everyone, to save them, but fails. And the Cybermen get away with the cargo, who's a little black girl, who then turns out to be a giant. Oh no, not yet. We're not up there yet. They're fine. They're black. They then drop Dan off, and he's like, "You nearly killed me that time on that thing. I'm just gonna go. I'm just going to go. So Dan leaves running for his life back to his career. Hopefully he survives. Yeah, he'll be fine. And they go to they trace the girl, and it's in a new planet that's new little planetoid that's orbiting the Earth in 1916 or 1860 or somewhere, and the master is Rasputin. It's somehow connected, and the little girl is actually a giant ball of glowing energy and things, so a super alien that they're using to power whatever they're doing. And the Daleks are working with them to make. I'm fine. I've lost it. Okay, I can't. Let's see what they have to say. Okay, that's as far as I tried. I did my best. And so another era comes to the end. To be honest, it's not exactly I'm not exactly upset about it. No one is, darling. In fact, this was the first time during a whole revival era I've actually been very, very happy to move on, especially after the cliffhanger. More on that later. But I'm frustrated it took the BBC so long to realise this era wasn't working. Yeah, that's fair, right? I mean, look, again, the problem is this is just exactly what they wanted. You know, it's not that Chibnall didn't deliver what they wanted. Chibnall delivered exactly what they wanted, right? And it failed horribly, right? There we are. The Power of the Dark is another classic Chibnall episode. I'm not sure if that's a praise or not. Chibnall, and by classic I mean it has plenty of good ideas here and there, but also features all the writing flaws that plagued the era. I don't think this did have good ideas. I agree with you. And they've had a few good ideas during Flux, and the central idea of even the Daleks was good, right? And the turning into a Weeping Angel cliffhanger was good. There's a few good ideas. There's a lot of bad ones, right? There's a lot of bad ones, and it's never strung together well. Right, but you know, I would say for the majority of the time, this writing's been atrocious, right? Like genuinely amateurishly atrocious. First two seasons were, they're awful. There's no other way of explaining it. They're just awful. It's bombastic, noisy, zips all over the place. Give you no time to process anything. Overstuff with characters and features and incoherent plot. Fair. Yeah, I agree with all the above. I agree with all that, right? Granted, the exhibition wasn't quite as bad for once, but it's a minor whim. And this is a good review. The difference this time is there's a hell of a lot of nostalgia and an attempt to distract you from the said flaws, which admittedly works. And is rather ironic, considering how the Chibnall era, the Chibnall starters era. Okay. I'll say it again. The difference this time is there's a hell of a lot of nostalgia and attempt to distract you from the said flaws, which admittedly works. Yes, I agree with that. Sorry, I spaced out on that. Rather ironic, considering how it started. After all, who wouldn't be happy to see returning classic Doctors and companions? Especially ones who were denied a proper anniversary appearance a decade ago. That's fair enough. Let's rewind a bit. Following the ropey pre-title sequence, seriously, what happened to CGI? I thought that looked good. I gave that props. Okay, I gave it props. It was better than She-Hulk. Man, I can't believe how many people like She-Hulk. Oh, it blows my mind. Normies like She-Hulk. It's just one of the horrible injustices of the world. Dan said off at the start was probably the only moment where I was legitimately surprised at how soon and how terrorist it was. It was really Puccia flew back home. It really was. Either John Bishop was too busy or Chibnall felt like he had so many things going on, he didn't know how to incorporate that. Well, yeah. I mean, he had Tegan and Ace. I mean, they were a big chunk of it into the story and give him something to do, meaningful to do. But really, Dan has felt like for the most of his episodes, following his introduction, it makes you wonder why Chibnall even bothered to bring in a new companion so late when it was all it amounted. Really, that's true. It could have just been the Doctor and Yaz. I mean, like, excruciating it sound, but like it's what they wanted, right? It's what all the weirdos wanted, and it wouldn't have been any worse, right? I don't know. Maybe meet Jellicoe at the beginning, right? He was good. Again, occasionally it worked out. What we have to. The end of Yaz's story was only marginally better, at least in terms of on-screen time. It's interesting how, for all the production team to talk about the last couple of specials, Thasman was absolutely nowhere. Yeah, well, they just wanted it for the cocktail parties. I believe the term is quietly called queer baiting. Oh, wow. It's called queer baiting. As I predicted, it would end this way. I mean, 13 just says bye, and Yaz goes on her way. End of story. What a satisfying, heartfelt 3-episode arc. No. But look, why don't anybody care about Yaz anyway? When Tegan and Ace are back on screen, that's exactly the truth, right? I thought out of the duo, Sophie Aldred got the best moments. Well, she did the best work. Although obviously I'm a big Ace fan. I also enjoyed the callbacks. Nitro 9, baseball bat, Daleks, all that was good. I agree with it. Didn't make sense. It was bonkers. It was stupid, but it was all fun, right? And something we really missed from Doctor Who. The Ace's scene with Seven was easily my the highlight of the entire episode. I thought the Tegan with 5 was best, right? And now you generally a heartfelt moment, and Tegan with 5 wasn't bad either. Chibnall, why couldn't you have done scenes like that with the main cast? It wasn't the writing; it was the performance. Okay. You are hampered by a terrible, terrible leading actor and co-stars for that matter. Yes, bringing back the classic Doctors was always going to be a big crowd pleaser, but I thought all of them did a sterling job. I agree. Apparently, that was only Paul McGann's head, right? He wasn't available to shoot, so he only got his head on green screen, and the rest was somebody else's body. Right, which may be why he wasn't in robes. I don't know. No, it can't be. I thought they all did a stunning job, but it was only further highlighting the gulf between the past Doctors and Jodie Incarnation. Listen, mate, and this is a good review. Every time Jodie came back on screen, my friends who I was watching it with were all like yelling, "No, give us McGann, McCoy!" Exactly, not a good sign. Onto the plot. I really like the idea of Doctor focusing on Rasputin. It was only done to do the Boney M song. That was the entirety of the reason of Rasputin. To do the Boney M song. No other reason, right? No other reason at all. This particular period in Russian history, I've only ever felt interested since I've first studied this called Mad Block. It's good fodder for Doctor Who. Ends up being almost completely ignored and superfluous to anything. It's true. I'm actually annoyed Christian will used up what could have been a great focused historical episode on its own. Why the Master was even posing just for fun. To get control of the Tsar's palace for some reason. So they could do that's what he could use as a base to force regenerate Jodie. Okay. Oh, didn't mean to do that. It's like okay. Anyway, the Daleks and Cybermen, their appearance here was very disappointing. Well, the Cybermen weren't bad. I mean, again, made that is so stupid. I cloned you, and how they're bad. It was really genuinely like a Curse of the Fatal Death. Oh, I'll tell you later. I'll explain later. I mean. The fear and the threat level has completely evaporated from this pair of monsters at this point. Later, they're literally just standing around doing nothing as the Master goes talks through his evil plan. I would have liked to have seen how the slides came to be. I agree with you. Even the scene showing the Daleks planning to dispatch the Master once they've got the Doctor would have helped. Yes, here's the trouble. You can only improve a Chibnall script. I mean, you can only improve a Chibnall script. You can't make them any bloody worse. It's incredible. I mean, like, and God bless you. Mate, I'm just sorry you're so shit at this. I mean, genuinely, I am. I'm sorry you're so shit at this. What am I up to? Now lost in place. Okay, 1 second. The only interesting element was the Dalek Trader, but it wasn't developed enough. Like Rasputin, it could have served as a good episode in its own right. That's always true. Like, he just doesn't know. He has a few good ideas, doesn't know what to do with them. Meanwhile, the Cybermen still can't aim for anything, and again shoot down straight corridors and shafts, and still find the way to miss the shots. I also want to know how Cybermen that have the power to regenerate can also be so boringly used. And don't get me started on the goofy design. I quite like it. I mean, I like the cyber design in general. What's the point of bringing back Eshtad exactly? None at all. He's barely in it, adds so little. I mean, again, very true. He was interesting as debut episode because he was written with some complexity, but here's reduced to a stock enemy leader. He's basically cyber leader. That's exactly who he is. I really hope Russell David reinvents both these monsters and gives us another Dalek, reminding fans why these monsters are scary. Yeah, exactly. Now back to the Master. I know some fans don't like Manic Patrol. I haven't liked it thus far. I thought it was good in this one, but Saskatchewan actually has a strong screen presence and choose the scenery with such relish. I find it hard not to be entertained by him. Very true. I strongly agree. I very much strongly agree with that. Entertainment, but maybe that says more about the bland cast that was sharing scenes with him. No, he was really genuinely fun, right? It wasn't for if it wasn't for the returning classics, he would have completely stolen the episode. That's very true. The big problem is it's so evident the timeless children though that Jodie is sidelined in favor of the Master when she wasn't being sidelined by classic Doctors and companions. Exactly. Dwan always gets the Doctor sort of even gets to be the Doctor sort of, while Jodie occasionally cameos as a hologram version. This isn't great for what's meant to be her last hurrah, the 13th Doctor. But really, it feels like Jodie was done dirty through the entire tenure. No, she just didn't know how to act. Right? I'm still convinced that she was the right pick for her. I'm convinced that she wasn't. But with stronger writing, surely she could have been better than this. Well, I mean, look, it's been a perfect storm of awful, right? It's been an absolute, I mean, like, terrible writing, terrible. Why? It all comes from Chibnall, I guess, but, like, this is what the BBC wanted. I guess he couldn't deliver. One day when she moves to Big Finish, don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. If Big Finish are going down, we'll do that story after with another couple of reviews. Big Finish are going down. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. Did the clocks change? Now I just don't know what the time is at all. My computer clock says 8:40. My clock says 7:40. I'm so freaking confused. Okay, so I've been online. This says I've been online for 2 hours, 10 minutes. I know I started at 7:30 my time, right? So it must be 1 hour and 10 minutes because that's wrong. So I've started at 7, so it must be 8:40. Okay, that's right. Oh, head in. So it's 6:40 in the UK. Okay, I'm working this out. Oh, let's do my head in, mate. Where am I up to? But you see, anything's more interesting than reading about Jones. Yeah, don't hold your breath for a Big Finish. As for a final speech, I shouldn't be surprised when it was just so lackluster. Yes, especially when you compare it to the previous New Who's. The blossomest blossom. Is that what? I can't even remember what she said. It was so bloody bland. But yeah, that's Chibnall, mate. He can't bloody write. Should have given it to Paul Cornell, right? You should have swallowed some of that bloody pride and given it to a sorting writer. You know, I'm sorry, mate. I hope Murray Gold turned down Russell Davis' show because he wanted to return to Doctor Who. I think it's going to be good, mate. I think it's going to be good. But yeah, who knows? Sarah Jodie Whittaker's era, I'm not even sure if she had a true Doctor moment. No, she didn't. One that made me think, oh, now that's the Doctor. Equally, what was her Doctor about? Where was her character about? What was her story arc? It all seemed to be a timeless show, but Chibnall completely gave up on that. He was told to by the BBC. I'm actually glad, but at the point, but what was the point of it all? After almost 60 years of canon retconning for nothing, not to mention causing exodus of fans, was it all worth it, Chibnall? Well, he thought it was going to be better than it was, right? He didn't know it was going to work. It's like the Democrats. They didn't know it was going to be so bad. Like nobody was going to work out this badly. Jodie regenerating Tennant would have been a truly gold-stabbing moment if the rumor hadn't been a rumor. We all knew it was happening. I know this is a day and age where keeping secrets, especially with Tennant, out of innocence, would have been next to impossible. But still, it was described as a shock in the press to be, and there's ability. Yeah, I don't know why I said it was a shock. When the show falls, who are you going to call? David Tennant? Am I excited though? Hell yeah, Russell T Davies has one last shot to bring Doctor Who back to his glory. Yes, he does. That's the other thing I like about this. This is like, yeah, this is really the last chance saloon, right? We are. If this doesn't work out, with Doctor Who's gone, right? It's over. It's not over already. It's a miracle, an absolute miracle. I'm not exaggerating. Overall, let's hope so. Hope some valuable lesson has been learned from the failures this era. I hope so too. Overall, Power Doctor is a messy, unfitting finale for Jodie Whittaker's frequently disappointing Doctor, but it has several nostalgic moments that redeemed it somewhat. Aside, Vinder in this one, wasn't he? Whoops, a forgettable character was forgotten. Yes, absolutely. And there's Graham too. How did he get in the volcano? How? Why? I liked the interaction with Sophie though. Look, the future Doctor, meh, and it wasn't her at all. How did Tegan survive the fall down elevator shaft? Who cares? So we actually saw planets, more planets than just Earth. Well, I guess all that's left over in the universe ending baggage from Flux was completely northern. Yes. Chibnall mind whilst writing the sound of the sound of drums, the stolen Earth, journey's end and end of time. Yes. As much as I like the companion support group scene, it was short. Ian was probably his last scene ever. His last scene ever gets one line, as does Joe. Again, in a good concept for an episode that is wasted. Yeah. Power Doctor safe on the stairs. See, that's a positive review. Sod me. All right. So look at this one. Doink. Jodie Whittaker's era. Doctor Who ends Jodie Whittaker with an infuriating mess. Okay, I guess they're not pro then, is my guess. See, I'm being positive. Man, I'm being positive. Power of the Doctor goes all in for fan service to bid Jodie Whittaker's Doctor adieu, but not before returning to another muddled mess of television. Fair. I'm being so nice to him, though. The era of the 13th Doctor is over, but it went out how much ultimately Christian was time of Doctor Who's showrunner went over the last 4 years, with moments of brilliance, moments of okayness, outshone by plodding, unwieldy mess and narratives that threatened to drag its excellent start. She wasn't down with it in a way that perhaps is fitting, if an unjust one. Okay. Power of the final outing of Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor and Trish Chibnall's run of Doctor Who is like a lot of the duo's recent episodes in time and space. A difficult piece of television to write about. Well, difficult for you because you lied your ass off for years. Endings are hard, especially Doctor Who ones. and the mythical, where a mythical process of the Time Lord regeneration, but all guarantee, all but guarantees that no matter how strong the adventure is before it, the end will be overshadowed by the new beginning that comes immediately after it. Okay. Well, no, that's not true. Let's go through them. I think there's adventure before. Okay, I think Twice Upon a Time Lord, or Twice Upon a Time, whatever it's called, the comparative finale, that was a very strong episode. I think the strongest part of the Matt Smith's finale was the regeneration. I think the end of time was a strong episode, but its strongest part was the regeneration. That's fair. So then we go into, that's from Christopher Eccleston. Christopher Eccleston, that was a strong episode, right? I like that episode. I think that's, the regeneration was a bit of a shock. Okay. So then it's, but yeah, McCann doesn't really count. So Sylvester McCoy, his regeneration, that was the new beginning. There was no end, right? So the last one was, so the one before that would have been Peter Davidson and Colin Baker. Well, no, Kaiser Androzani, far stronger. That story was not overshadowed by the regeneration, right? Definitely not overshadowed by the regeneration. Logopolis was about the regeneration. Planet of Spiders was just them having fun. That wasn't about the regeneration. And I think that overshadowed the story as well, right? The main point was the regeneration. That's Planet of Spiders. So then we got, War Games was about, kind of the regeneration was tacked on at the end. You didn't really get the new beginning. That was supposed to be in the Doctor Who. And 10th Planet, a strong bloody story, mate. Strong story. I hate to tell you. Regeneration felt kind of tacked on. So I'm not sure you're right about that. Okay. We've gone through them. We've analyzed them. Fine. They're even harder in Doctor Who's revived era, where the exit of the Doctor and the arrival of another has once in a while also coincided with the show's flagship creative steward turning the story not at the end of the Doctor's incarnation, but their treatise of the entire period of Doctor Who. Okay. All this and more hangs heavily on the shoulders of the power of the Doctor. What an awful title, right? An end capsule to the tumultuous period in Doctor Who, already heavily shadowed by the bananas potential, the return of the faces that have long been heralded in the future before we reach the end. Oh, man. Jeez, this is just like, he thinks he's writing bloody Shakespeare, this guy. Calm down. Okay. There are a few finales that could bloody fly. I get this like fruit fly. It makes me crazy. There are a few finales that could navigate the complex nuanced weirdness of the current state of Doctor Who and come out largely immaculate. Current Doctor Who is terrible. The fatal problem on the power of the Doctor is that the vast majority of the burdensome 90-minute span of time doesn't even try, flinging cameos, story threads, and scenes at the wall, desperately praying that one will stick. For the most part, they don't. Oof. I'm so much nicer. Okay. To attempt to make what happens in Power of Doctor Who narratively is an exercise in futility. Well, I started at the beginning. Right. Which is presumably why the apex of the mess, the apex of this mess, a moment when the master returned by a saturated is now given up any attempt at menacing like all masters before him, because every piece of scenery and imaginable BBC budget sets the stage for a zany attempt to force the Doctor to regenerate into himself, breaking out into an extended dance sequence. The Bonians classics Rasputin. I've had it in my head non-stop. I like that bit. It's heralded by the Masters as an attempt to explain the preceding 45 minutes episode. It happened to the Doctor. The 45 minutes of the episode had happened to the Doctor and the audience. Right. I liked it. Okay. That gave me a bit of a breather, quite frankly. The train flying through space, invaded by Cybermen, barely arrived Bentley or a companion, Dan exits rapidly through a series of exiting the series with little in the way of emotional payoff. A renegade Dalek invading Earth, a planet orbit made out of Cyberman stuff, unit, and not one but two return companions, Janet Fielding and Sophie Aldred, as fifth Doctor companions, Tegan Chavanka and seventh Doctor companion Ace, respectively. Missing painting seismologist, I forgot about that. And the Master pretended to be Gregory Rasputin. Oh, was he Rasputin? We don't know, right? We don't know. In the early 20th century in Siberia, all of these things unfold into an incoherent manner as possible. Chibnall's fondness for title cards and locations and years on them attempt to manufacture a scale without actually showing scale. Okay, I guess, but geez, man, they are savaging this guy. Bloody hell. Okay. Like, once I'm defending Chris Chibnall, they're savaging him. Right? Yeah, that makes sense. Once I'm defending him, they are savaging him. All these things unfolding. I can't remember as possible. Chibnall's fondness, blah, 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 scale. Its own matter of fondness for plot threads that barely flow into one another. As the Doctor and Yaz across time and space try and figure out what's going on, dragging the audience along with them. Scenes barely cohere from one to the next, and characters figure out things by actually and characters figure things out not actually by working things out by clues, but by simply loudly stating what's meant to happen. Or is that a process happening? Okay. And none of these 7 different plots threads, I forgot how many were, get any time to develop because they're flipping between them in such rapid muddled pace. Well, again, Chibnall's worked out if you slow down, you notice that he's shit, right? His only hope, real only hope, is this speed, because otherwise you notice. And again, I'm defending Chibnall, poor bastard. Man, they're getting the boot in there. Nothing lands emotionally despite fucking hell. Despite the fact we're constantly shouted at, these things are all dire, and the Doctor is facing her toughest battle yet. Whittaker barely gets to pay Penona's strength. She doesn't have any, as she's shuffled between being flummoxed by each newly introduced plot. Well, that's fair enough. I mean, but again, that's her Doctor. Each new hero plot thread. No time is spent developing these kernel ideas, which standalone or in much smaller doses might be an interesting episode in themselves, but not here. So nothing ever feels exciting or satisfying. They then all fall apart in the aforementioned scene where the Master simply explains it before his dance sequence, right? Yeah, he does. Sasha does it well, though, right? That everything was his idea. Why? Because he said so. And again, there's no satisfaction for the audience here. There was a grand puzzle you could have conceivably put together before the Master reveals his plan. No. As well, master plan. Well, again, I like the line. I'll call it my the Master's Dalek plan, because nothing is given time to make any sense. What does it matter? The Master did it, so what? God, how long is this? Oh dear, fine. Oh, there's a lot of savaging we got coming. This all might sound like a describe to reveal the impending false mastification of the Doctor, but it turned out that the point where it turned out the point where I scrolled so well, I went the wrong place. Where did it? Point where the power of the Doctor might get good, but alas, it just keeps adding more plot threads. The Master's goal to become the Doctor and seemingly kill their regenerative line in the process, so he can slander the Doctor's name across space and time. The unit stuff with Tegan and Ace and Tegan now that Cyberman's invasion just one building on Earth, led by the last Cyberman, Ashdad, for a few seasons. From a few seasons ago, he got better cloned. He got better cloned by the Master. Don't worry about it, because the power of the Doctor certainly doesn't. After stating this, remember Vinder from last year's terrible season flux? Fucking hell! He's also there on the cyber planet because it turned out there's a child. Oh, what about him being pregnant and all that? Because it turns out the child of the Cyberman kidnapped on the train 45 minutes ago was actually a sentient energy powering it. Meanwhile, the 13th Doctor is shunted to the edge of eternity. Don't remember that. The limbo of, all Time Lords apparently walked through during the regeneration, and she has a chat with a facsimile of her first 5, 6, 7, and 8 incarnations. The first of plenty wild random cameos from Doctor's past. She showing up also side sentient AI TARDIS to the abandoned Yaz as implanted holograms for Tegan and Ace. They're shunted separately. Potlines to stop the Daleks and Cybermen threats. Oh, my head's exploding. My head is exploding. Once again, all these threads might make for a compelling Doctor Who episode, but there are ideas here for a brief moment. Muddling may shine with brilliant potential and just make larger messiness more frustrating. The idea of a limbo for Doctors where their past selves, so horrified by the Master's vandalization of regeneration, came pulled together to pull the 13th back from the brink. It's a wonderful bridge across so many eras of the show. Ripped right off from, was it Time Wired and Revelation by Paul Cornell. Why not just get him to write it if you're going to rip him off? Right? But yeah, I thought they were fine. They were good. Giving Janet Fielding so far did 2 actors whose companions unjustly exited the show a chance for a final scene with their Doctors, and gives Tegan and Ace a chance to heal their frayed friendship with the Doctor. Delivers 2 incredible poignant moments in the episode, despite the episode desperate. Delivers 2 incredibly poignant moments in an episode of desperate need for them. There you go. Even when they say they're not saying something nice, it's like, oh man. Okay. This guy. Power of the Doctor is Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who run as it began as a disappointment. Best way to describe Christian and Jodie Whittaker's era of Doctor Who is stuff happened. And a continuous of the Power of the Doctor, which served Whittaker's 13th Doctor Swan Song, certainly stuff certainly happened. Was any of that stuff emotionally, narratively, thematically resonant? Well, that's another story. Jodie was putting out fires. Oh man, quick goodbyes, awkward reunions, master plan. One thing I think Westwood was more than John Sims' leftovers. A fantastic actor. Again, wow, man, everyone's a critic. Everyone's a critic. Come, I think I found the Guardian review. This one might be good. There you go. Gets 4 out of 5. Thank you. Okay, well, if the person didn't look quite so emotionally stunted, would be a stronger review. Doctor Who review. Jodie Whittaker bows out with big bangs. Oh, she was a good bang, was she? Best bang since a big one. An even bigger heart. Oh, Ecky thump. Oh, how long is this? This can't be that long. It's praising it. Okay, fine. We'll do this one. I want to do one positive. See, that's how I'm so nice to Chibnall. Full of spectacular action, explosions, epic battles, and plenty of old faces. Doctor Who, the Power of the Doctor is a glorious send-off for Whittaker's 13th Doctor. No, it wasn't. Jodie Whittaker's final act of Doctor Who leaves her an outgoing showrunner shift with a lot of heavy lifting to do. Yes, it did. Okay, did it do any of it? No. Not only is it Whittaker's swan song, but it's the run. It runs into a feature length. It It runs the length of a feature film at a whopping hour and a half, and as part of the BBC Centenary celebrations, Power of the Doctor, BBC One approaches this mammoth task, rolling up its sleeves by throwing everything at it, and then taking back, and then throwing some more. It goes big before it goes home. Again, I like you focusing on the positives. Yes, it does all of those things. You are not fibbing, right? You are not fibbing. This might set alarm bells ringing for some. What, like people who watched it? That's true. But there's no need to worry. It was shit. Yeah, we all knew. When it follows some of its worst instincts, Doctor Who can be turned into a convoluted tangle impenetrable to casual viewers, dragged down by its own matters mythology. It's impenetrable to any viewer, right? It just went from it basically is like this. It says the normie has always thought Doctor Who to be incomprehensible. They don't understand what's going on. So they don't need to make understand. To make the normie watch it, they don't need to make them understand what's going on. Now, I think that was Chris Chibnall's take on it. The episode is bombastic and so stuffed with Easter eggs and nods to the past. I doubt I even caught half of them. I doubt you did either. But it rolls through meaty time, more actually several stories that eventually converge with Whittaker's trademark energy and just the right lightness of touch. Okay, again, it sounds like she's masturbating, right? She's not very good. It begins with a long mini episode-ish sequence before the title gets going, more like a finale than an opener, which sets up the ambitions from the off. I agree. Yeah, look, I agree. I thought it was an ambitious scene that, apart from Whittaker's horrible miscasting, actually worked, right? I like the pre-title sequence, right? Parallel Doctors are back to basics, Doctor Who, with add-ons and extras. Yeah, you mean all the shit they did, the BBC told them, stop doing that. You've destroyed the brand enough, right? Like, so I think it's some part of the that rumor where he walked off production during was it Fugitive of the Jadoon? Suddenly the BBC found out what they're doing, said, no, you got to stop. He said he walked off production, said, either we do my way or the highway, and he came back, right? That's what I heard, right? There was some contention. I have no idea how true that is. It might be completely bullshit. It might be completely true, right? It's probably somewhere in between. I really genuinely don't know, but it might be complete bullshit. I mean, it really might be complete bullshit. But it feels like they just told him to get rid of the timeless child. Having dealt with Time Loop, Sea Devils, and Pirates in the first two of the last three specials, Doctor is now up against their old foes, the Cybermen. Only these Cybermen have been beefed up and boosted somehow, find an angelic way, an angelic-looking child, beefed up somehow by way of an angelic-looking child, which only ever signals... No, they have not. They weren't beefed up by the angelic-looking child. Only these Cybermen have been beefed up and boosted somehow by way of an angelic-looking child. No, they were stealing the child, which only ever signals something is incredibly creepy is about to happen. You don't even understand the plot. Case in point. Bloody hell. Any promise of a slow creep spooky episode was dispensed with quickly, however, as the action careers off. 50 of the world's greatest paintings that got missing. They got hidden. Seismologists around the world are disappearing. There may or may not be another moon in the sky in Siberia. May or may not be another moon in the sky. In Siberia in 1960, and then in London 2022, the Daleks appeared and the Master himself. But you're trying to say the plot, you can't do it. Meaning Saturn gets to bring the darkest parts of the last episode and the lightest into this unhinged panto villain shtick. Really does shine here. I agree. That's a fair praise, right? And there's one scene in particular where it truly lets rip. I like that scene. Still like it. I'm not sure I'm supposed to enjoy this his malevolent presence as much as quite. Of course you are. But his frothing toilet travels are hard to resist. They were good. The Doctor dealing with the triumphs of old school evil as several loose threads. Heave interview flicking between planets and eras. There's a sort of Siri on steroids bit. Don't remember that. Some meditations on consciousness and hope. Dastly plan, and that nearly all comes together. Do I win a prize if I guess how it all fits together? She asked at one point, which is a question I've asked myself routinely since roughly 2012. Not quite sure I have the answer. Yeah, look, she's a Karen normie who's never understood Doctor Who. And she says, oh, look, it's more Doctor Who. Doesn't make sense. Oh, it's okay. That's why you think this is normal. Because for you, Doctor Who's never made sense because you're not very clever, right? Obviously. Doesn't matter, not really. And actually, as the episodes go, this is largely comprehensible. No, it's not. Luckily, I am forbidding myself for reasons of spoilers, and definitely not because I couldn't if I tried. You couldn't if you tried because it doesn't make any sense. Considering this is a super long episode, it trots around at a decent speed. True, good. When it gives praise, that's correct. I will say true. That's true praise, right? And rarely dips. Fans, old and new, should find plenty to delight them. The return of Ace and Tegan, who get their own slice of adventures, as well as time to reflect on what it means to be an ex-companion, mixes air punching glee with emotional depth. Yes, again, not Jodie was good. Old faces come and go. There are countless welcome surprises drip through, and this gives stately air, which seems fitting, given its celebratory centenary purpose. Okay, well, they thought it was the 60th, right? But it's really about saying goodbye to Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. Na-na-na-na, goodbye. Who brought real warmth and spirit to Rome. No, she didn't. It could also be a hello to Shooting Gutwell, who presumably... Oh, so this person hasn't seen the regeneration. They just saw it up till then. The power of the Doctor finds plenty of room to set. Fine, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this came from the preview thing, so they didn't see it. Let's see how they're looking about the fan service. Let's see what's say about fan service on a bit of Bleeding Cool. Then we'll talk about Big Finish. Fan service in all the right ways. Is this a long article? I'm running out of steam. No, I can do this. Fine. By Adi Tantamed. Doctor Who Power of fan service in all the right ways. Doctor Who's Power of the Doctor is the end of the Jodie Whittaker, is the end of an era, the last gasp of Jodie Whittaker and showrunner Chris General. Bye. Since the review goes out before US broadcast, we thought we'll keep the biggest spoilers out of it. Richard's more detailed review later. You probably know by now, Dr. Yaz, Dan, blah, blah, blah. We already know the biggest spoiler of the regeneration. Everybody in the world already knows the spoiler a month ago, and that's where Rusty Davis and the BBC before the media and the internet, you could even leak it. There are plenty of spoilers you might want to discover for yourself. Watch Doctor Who Power of the Daleks. We are Power of the Dark Doctor. We are not going to spoil you more than you already know. What you already know is it any good? Well, what you want to know is it any good? Well, for Jodie Whittaker, sure. Christian makes the Doctor makes this his Doctor Who finale a fan service fun park. There are some fans who are dreading the Power of the Doctor after the middling mess that was Flux. Best work yet. I mean, like, how do you say it was middling mess when you praised season 11, which was garbage, right? Far worse than Flux. Season 11 had no good ideas in it at all. Flux had some good ideas in it and was fun. It was frothy. It was stupid. It didn't work, but it was like so much better than the season 11, right? Chibnall seemed to know exactly what was wrong with Flux and decided to go full on fan service. He wrote them together and gave everything they could possibly want from the Power of the Doctor. Yeah, I think he's so demoralized he probably won't even do Big Finish. Again, so badly cast. Look at that face. So it's a lot better than Fox by going the other way around, going the whole hog, a breathless pace, ending running an action of people. That's exactly what Flux was, with people standing around explaining the plot and the tech gobbledygook to each other. There's nothing new here. It's not an attempt to do anything new. It's all fan service, Dalek, Sidemen, Master, previous companions, surprises. It feels like an episode from the 1980s. The callbacks to just not plot to keep everything running. Chris Chibnall, Chibnall is like a TV writer from the 70s and 80s, more reliant on plot than characterization, which is his plots are awful, which are grafted into the plot. He relies on his plots are awful too. He relies on standard format of not only Doctor Who but virtually all procedural television. Something external drops into the hero's lap. The hero must now and friends must solve it. Meanwhile, it goes. It does show everything a fan could possibly want to see in a special like this. Not only does our final scenes of regeneration, Chibnall has done this before. Throws stuff at the wall and see what sticks. During the utterly nonsensical plot, which we all agree that no one will remember. That's also true, but everyone will remember the fan service. Oh, that's a fair point, and it works. I agree. It's fun. It's fun, fast, and plays on Whittaker's strength as a Doctor. It finally gives us her best Doctor Who episode. It makes us sorry to go. No, it doesn't. It's a piece of old school Doctor Who, going back to 2005 revival of the classic show with production values and FX that look good. I agree. And unlike Flux, everyone doesn't stand around interminably explain the plot to each other and still fail. This time it takes just a few lines before speeding off into the next bit. That's true, because we don't understand it. And now Chibnall Whittaker era is over. Yes! Na. Hey, goodbye. She should have many more good stories on Doctor Who. Instead, she only has a small hand. She doesn't have any. Capaldi should have had a lot more. Should have had all her run, right? The clock's been reset. The toys are back in the box. Rusty Davis takes over. Everything is old and both new again. You know what that means. You know what that means. You don't want it any other way. P.S. This isn't a spoiler since you already know unit troops are still totally units in a Firefly, as are the Cybermen. The show's registered. Nothing new or surprising. It's been a mantra since this era of Doctor Who. So hopefully we're now in for the opposite. Who knows? There you go. I think that's a review roundup. So let's just make it like this. The plot is gobbledygook garbage. Characterizations are awful with fan service that worked, right? I think fan service that worked. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.